So just had a phone call from a customer. Obviously, we have a blog post up live on our website about how to tell if your injectors are counterfeit. So he gave us a call. He bought a set of injectors off eBay, had suspicions that they were not correct and not genuine. And so we talked it through. He sent some photos. I'm going to put those in the video now. You can clearly see serial numbers are all off, all sorts of stuff. And so he told me the name of the shop. Let's fucking buy some and find out. All right, let's have a look. Details are all up here. I'll put a voucher in there so I can get $150 off because I know I'm about to fucking do my money. Let's find out. There we go. Right, so we're gonna try to do the opening up in my light box so you can see. No fucking funny business here. And that there does not look like a legit Denso box to me. Let's have a look, compare it straight away. Let's just have a quick look at the boxes side by side because, like, fuck man, they're doing a pretty good job. Some very small differences, but yeah, bloody hell. They're so close to legit. Anyway, let's have a look. That's fair enough. You can easily fit 4 injectors into one box. I can tell you the freight from Europe fucking hurts. So I've just turned around and grabbed one out of my piles up the top. The ones that I've seen, they've had injector down the bottom here. This O, they've actually used a 0 instead of an O, so you can see it's all out, but that doesn't look quite right. And you can also see they've misspelt the Russian down the back there. Rightio, let's get them open and have a look. It's pretty solid advice, actually. First look, bag heaps discoloured. We have a silver injector cap, which is not correct. And if you have a look at the injector body, you'll see, I might have to put a still over the top of this, but you can see the serial number is the 25X. Denso don't run 25X. So if I pop that down, this one that we unpacked literally yesterday, and so we can have a look here, you can see the cap nuts are quite different. They've copied a 778 style body, which is like the square style body. So there's 2 types of bodies that go into the 1KDs more or less interchangeably. You've got the round style body here and a square style body there. Let's get this packaging off and see what it looks like. Not the right type text, not the right QR code. Last digit is also wrong. Somebody gave me the tip off. If you look up the guts in here, you'll see some markings. The non-genuine one will have a DX in the bottom here. Another thing I didn't quite notice before, you can see here that we've got inside a sealed package. You just don't see that stuff in a Denso packet. So while we're also on it, I just went and grabbed the original one. This thing here, this is a literal one-to-one replace photocopy. QC numbers in the corner are identical. The only difference you could tell is a little bit of difference in terms of printing quality, and that has a thicker card than that thicker stock, but other than that you wouldn't know. So that's all pretty disappointing. You know, somebody who's spent considerable amount of money. I think this set was $1,700. So at the end of the day, I think our retail price is around the $2,000 mark. This is the 18 code injectors. So there is a saving there, 10 to 15% round numbers. But yeah, obviously for a non-genuine product, it's probably cost them about half as much. But it's one of those things where if you don't know who you're looking at or who you're talking to and whether it costs and they're legitimate or not, you probably wouldn't know, because as you've seen from the packaging, by God, they're getting pretty damn close. So anyway, let's go to the common R room. Let's go test them and see what they look like. The test bench is running out the back there, so while it's down, I thought I'd just grab one of these, right? So this is the nozzle washer that's come in the packet. Now you can see the genuine one is over here on this side, the non-genuine one that's come in this fake Denso packet is on this side. Now firstly, the coatings are quite different, but more importantly, the actual shape of the washer is considerably different. Now, what troubles me the most is that if we have a look here, you'll see the flat surface area is much larger than the other one. Now, what this does, think of it as the sealing surface is effectively the pounds that per square inch that you're squeezing down. Now, if the tightening torque is going to remain the same, but you've doubled the surface area, you've effectively halved the pounds per square inch because you've doubled the square inches. And so the sealing effect of this washer is going to be considerably worse. Let's have a look at what's inside of it. So you can see I've cut them in half. The one on the top is unfortunately, I would assume, brass. The genuine Toyota one on the bottom is copper. And I can confirm from when I cut it, the genuine Toyota one was a whole lot fucking softer. That top one, especially with that pounds per square inch, is not going to seal if there's any fucking problems at all. Anyway, onto the test bench. Let's see what it looks like. So what do we find in the test results? Firstly, the leak back, there's not enough of it. So basically that's an indication that the internal tolerances between the parts is too tight. I tested some Chinese injectors a little while ago, sort of halfway through last year. They all had very low leak back values and they all failed very quickly, basically because they all picked up and started seizing. The second major concern is they're all over fueling, quite considerably so. You'll remember we did our video about the new uncoated Denso injectors. I'll link it up here, but you can see from the test results they're all 126 on the top fuels. These were like 141 to 147, so considerably over fueling. But then on the other side of the coin, in the third part of the equation, is that the flow rates variability is really quite high. So there's a whole lot of pilot fuel in these things. I'd imagine you're going to have a little bit of trouble doing the pilot relearn on these. But yeah, more importantly, the cylinder to cylinder variation is really quite high. They're over fueling, and I don't think the codes are correcting fuck all, basically. So I guess that begs the question, right? If you've bought a non-genuine injector, unfortunately, and then now we've ascertained that they don't really flow real good, what do they look like inside? Let's open it up, let's have a look. So now onto the internal condition. The actual cap nut, although it's not the right look and the right material, it does actually behave quite okay. A lot of the Denso stuff, when you open it, you can feel quite spongy. That older silver material that they had, the reflective material, these are considerably better than that. So that's kind of cool. A bit more in line with what the new generation Denso stuff is, that is the matte grey color. When we pulled it apart, no shadow of a doubt that is not a genuine nozzle. You can see a whole heap of different factors here. I'll show you. I didn't have a G3S6 free and handy, but I did have a different G3S nozzle that you can see. We just rotate them both side by side so you can see the obvious points of differences. Most concerning, but the nozzle needle is really, really different. Missing some lubricity bands. But also the recess for the fuel gallery is nowhere near as strong either. Moving further inside the injector, we removed the control piston next. You can see there's considerable difference in design. There's a few locating points down the bottom which Denso don't have. I think that could be a potential pickup failure point because that's where a lot of the leak back comes from. And then also the distinct lack of DLC coating, which is a very key design feature of the Denso injectors for these 18 code injectors. Moving to the top end, you can see the solenoids are considerably different internally as well, not just in terms of design but also in quality. The quality of the one that we opened up here leaves a bit to be desired. And then finally the armature. Not only is it not DLC or the correct type, it doesn't even appear to be new. There's some fuel discoloration and things like that that would sort of suggest that this is a second-hand component. To be fair, the only one that we've seen. Okay, so where do we land? Firstly, we've removed any doubt as to whether or not these are fake or genuine. They are unequivocally fake units. We would have seen DLC on the control pistons, DLC on a new armature. We would have seen Denso markings on the nozzle. We would have seen a completely different nozzle needle. Yeah, the list goes on and on and on. Discrepancies far deeper than just the packaging. So then the next question comes, if you have a set of these, where do you need to be concerned? Well, firstly, they're not going to last as long. You can actually see from the back leaks, they're actually quite tight. So I'd be surprised if these last very long at all, actually. Arguably, you could have a greater concern with the nozzle washers leaking. They're so bloody hard with such a huge surface area. They're going to leak. Take it from me. And then on the other side of the coin, you also have the flow rates, the flow rate variation. These things were like 10% over fueling, which is pretty fucking dramatic. And the variation one injector to the other was pretty freaking high, way more than what the codes are allowing for. Having a look at them, some of the high ones were actually coding up, so it would look like they've just grabbed sort of 20, 30 Denso injector codes and are just using those on cycle without any real idea what's going on. So all of that's a bit of a shame. If you've bought these as genuine Denso injectors and fitted them, you may want to start asking some questions. If you do end up with a set that has any sort of X or 25 or 24 as the first digits in the serial number, send them back. Don't even waste your time. I have some sympathy. I don't want to roast these guys too hard. There's every chance that, you know, they've asked for and bought genuine Denso injectors out of China, been sent these. And like I said, unless you have very significant experience in dealing with these things on a very regular basis, all of these tiny little indiscrepancies you would not notice. So I do have some sympathy there if that is a situation. But yeah, time to talk to eBay and see if I can get my money back.